Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, we are going to discuss with you guys another Java developer interview questions. So we have already uploaded a couple of videos on this topic. If you want, you can watch that videos as well. I will add the playlist link in the description. So now any further delay, let's get started. So this is the question for this video. Custom exception handling in Spring Boot application. Okay. So if you want to handle custom exceptions, then you can use two particular annotations. First one is activate controller advice and another one is activate exception handler. Okay, these two annotations you have to use. So basically this particular annotation you have to use at class level and this particular annotation you have to use at method level. Okay, so this one you have to use at method level and this one you have to use at class level. Okay, so yeah, so activate controller advice is the annotation to handle the exception globally. So sometime you will see in interview will ask you like how you can handle any exception globally. That time also you have to mention about this particular two annotation, like with activate controller advice and activate exception handler. So now this particular uh, word you have to remember. Okay. So now next one is activate exception handler. The exception handler is an annotation used to handle the specific exceptions. Okay, specific exception, this particular word, and then sending the custom responses. Okay, my bad, sending the custom responses to the client. Okay, these two words you have to remember. Okay, first one specific exception, and second one is custom responses. Okay, so that's it. Only you need to know. So now, what next we'll do? We will go to our IDE to actually understand how basically it works in a Spring Boot application. Okay, so now let's go to our IDE. We have this dummy project. Basically, here we have a class or like this particular class we are storing in our DB. Like in our application, the properties, but I can show you. I did all the configurations. Okay, we have the database with the name user details, and this is our like username and password. But yeah, that's fine. So now, like we have already created the connection with the database. So now there's no error will come if we run this particular project application. There's no error. Okay. So I will just stop this one. So yeah, we have only this particular class which is user details, which is storing ID, role, name, username, and password. Okay, and here ID is the primary key. Okay, so yeah, that's it. And also we have some repository interface. Okay, and here we are extending JPA repository, and also we have service and controller. Okay, this is our service, and this is our okay, so this one is our controller, okay, and this one is our service layer, okay. So now the point is we have total three APIs, okay. First one is to create the user, and the second one is to get the user by ID. The third one is to get the user only, but with username. Okay, these three APIs we have. So now here is our implementation. Okay. Now the interesting part is we have this particular class. Okay, so as I have already mentioned, like you have to use controller advice at class level. We have used that particular annotation as class level, and here we have another method, and that method level we are using activate exception handler. Okay, and what we have mentioned, like it basically returns custom responses, right? So here we are returning some custom responses. Okay, so exception details is a kind of POSO class, but it is not something we are storing in our database. Okay, like we do not have any ID column or anything, right? It's not like we annotated entity or anything. So it's simple POSO class. Basically, we have created this particular class to store the exception details like the name, description, code. Okay, so yeah, this is our custom exception details POSO class that we have to remember. Okay, to understand the concept. Okay, so now here we are returning this particular object iterative whenever the user note for an exception will come. Okay, like here it is receiving this particular exception. Okay, and then here it is creating the exception details object, and we are just returning that particular object. Okay, and you will see the same object will be returned in our postman, or like when we will use postman to hit any particular input, and if this particular exception comes, then it will return this exception object as a response. Okay, but actually I haven't used these exceptions in our code base because I just wanted to do that together so that you will understand it better. Okay, so two things we have to do. Okay, first, suppose this is user not found exception. Okay, so I just want to show you one more thing. Like, we have this user not found exception. We want to create any custom exception, and if it is a runtime exception, then you have to extend runtime exception class, and then there will be two constructor. And if you want to create checked exception, in that case you have to extend which class, that is exception class, you have to extend. Okay, if you want to create checked exception, so here we are creating unchecked only runtime exception. So here, that's why I am extending runtime exception class. Okay, what we will do, we'll come to our service layer. Okay, so here we have this create user. There's nothing we need to do for create user. Okay, but here we will do one thing. Okay, so find by ID we are doing. So we are always like returning the object. Okay, I just wanted to show you one thing. Okay, so what will happen if we are not handling the exception? Okay, so my project is running. Okay, so I have already created a postman collection as well. So I already have this particular user created. Okay, Ria, and the ID is 1. Okay, so now if I am fetching 1, there's no error. Okay, but I do not have any user with ID 2. Okay, so if I hit same button, it is showing some exceptions and all, right? No such element exception coming, right? So now here also you can see, okay, right? No value present. So now this is not our intention. What is our intention? Our intention is to return this particular object as a response. Like here we should return this particular object. How we can do that? That is more important. Okay. So now here what we'll do? We'll check if our repository, as it's returns optional, right? It's written optional. So we can just use is present. Sorry, my bad. Okay. And then it's present. We can check if it is present, then we can just return this. Else what we can is return, we can just throw the exception. Okay, the exception we have created, our custom exception. Okay, so new, you like we can write object not found. Okay, so yeah, that's it, only you need to do. I'm saving it, same endpoint once again. Okay, so I'm just saving it. Okay, it is not running, I guess, so just run it. So I'm just hitting the same endpoints once again. So now you can see it is returning the object which we have mentioned, right? Here, now exception detail like name, description, code. The same thing we have mentioned, right? Name, description, and code. And the description we have provided object not found. Okay, I think it's clear. So now I just want to show you one more thing. Okay, like how you can make a difference. Suppose I have another exception. Okay, the user not found exception we already have. Now we are creating another runtime exception, which is like ID non valid. Okay, extensive. Okay, runtime exception. Okay, so now, okay, you already know, right? You are just creating an exception. So here we will add something new. Okay, so suppose if id is less than or equals to 0, which is not correct, right? Because indexing starts from 1 only. Because there is no id is present with 0 or -1 or -2, right? So that time also it should throw our id not valid exception. Okay, this one, ID not valid. Okay, so now here also we are creating our exception. Okay, and this way you already know, right? You can create your custom exception and then you are just returning the same exception from. So now I'm just again running this one. Clear? So now here I'm using 0. Okay, so hitting this one. So now again the same thing is coming, right? But if you see here, now it's showing you our exception, that exception we have just created, right? ID not valid, okay? But it is not giving you the result as expected behavior, the expected behavior we want, okay? In that case, what we can do? We can again go to our custom exception handler, okay? Basically, we can create another method, okay? And if you notice one thing here, we are handling the multiple exceptions, and here like globally we are handling, and here we want consistent structure. Like always there will be an exception, the same kind of data will be returned, like exception details. It's a very good thing, right? Here we have created another method to handle the exception. Okay, so I'm rerun it. Okay, so I'm just showing you. Previously we are getting this kind of output, so now again just running it. So now here we are again, okay, we are not sure why it's showing you the not found exception. My bad. So you can just, actually I have used tape tool. Okay, yeah. So then everyone. So now it's coming as expected behavior. Okay, we can change one more thing actually. It's not valid, so maybe we can use bad request, or instead of not found we can just return like bad request. But yeah, that's a different thing. Okay, but yeah, I think you have understood the concept what I am trying to explain you. Okay, so just rerunning it. Yeah, 400. Okay. Bad request because there's some issue at the client side, because client is sending some like invalid data. How basically we are creating our exception details object. So before that, let's see this one. Okay, so this is our user service. So here we are basically throwing the ID not valid exception. Okay, and this is the custom message we are providing, and there is a constructor which will be used to create the object. Okay, that is totally fine. So the same message, okay, the message we have provided here, okay, the same message will be used while creating the exception details object. This is our get message we are doing. Okay, the same message will be used. Okay, and here is another one thing I just wanted to clear. Like if you see here now, so this is our exception details constructor. So first we have to provide some name and then the description. The description we are already getting from here. Okay, the next will be the code. Okay, so code we are providing like http status bat request dot value, to it will give you the value as an integer format. So there is not an issue. So maybe we can change the exception name little bit. If we hit the same endpoints once again. So now you can see the proper name it's coming and the same description we have provided here. The same description is coming. Okay. We can cross check once. Okay, the same, like ID not valid. Even if we change something. So now if you see the changes we did, the same changes is reflecting here as well. So yeah, that's all pretty much from this video. I hope you have understood all the topics which we have discussed. And also if you have any doubts, any questions, do let me know in the comments section. I'll be happy to answer all of your comments. So yeah, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care.